Hi there. Once I hit around 40 and started to really get into that middle age, I felt like my general health and wellness and fitness, etc., really started to go in one direction, and that was decline. And I think, to be honest, it could have continued that way. However, I managed to get to 50 and really make some big changes and turn things around for myself. Now, aside from the usual sort of diet, exercise type of approach, another big thing that really helped me make lasting change was letting go of limiting beliefs. I don't know if you're aware of that term. I'd come across it in the past through having some CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Um, but it's just beliefs that can hold us back, they keep us in the mindset of who we were, not who we want to be, and they can be a really major barrier to change. So, what I thought I'd do today is just look through 10 of the sort of big beliefs that I always used to hold, even subconsciously hold, that I've worked on trying to overcome. Some of them have been easier than others, some of them I still struggle with. But they're definitely things that have helped and are helping me make change, feel better about myself, change my mindset about who I am and who I want to be as I continue through midlife and this journey. So, maybe if you're similar to me, a woman in 40s, 50s, you're looking to make change, maybe some of these will help you. So let's get into them. And the first one is that you can be in control. Now, that sounds obvious. We're all in control of ourselves. However, for the longest time, I think I felt like I was almost adrift, and outside forces were what was in control of me. I didn't have control over my eating, over my consistency of habits, whether that was going to the gym, just generally looking after myself, of staying mentally well by, doing all the right things. And it's taken a long time, I think, to sort of be able to say, no, I'm in charge of me. I decide what I do. And if I make mistakes, that's I've made them. I'm in control of being able to turn them around. Um, I think it's more evident than ever when we get into midlife that we feel. I certainly feel like a shift in my attitude that actually no, you know, screw everyone else. I'm in charge. I say what's right for me, and yes, it doesn't mean that the journey of making change is any easier. But I think putting yourself in the driving seat and saying, I'm in charge, I'm in control, I can be in control, is really powerful. That's better. I just had to change my light. It was really glaring off my glasses. So, the second thing is you aren't who you were yesterday, and you aren't who you were in the past, further past that. It's easy to get stuck in this image of ourselves where we think, oh, I'm always going to be like this. If you feel like you're failing in an area, oh, I'm never going to get out of this, whether it's you're stuck in a career that you hate, or you don't like the way you look or the way you feel, or you don't like the way you dress, or how you're viewed by others. It's easy to feel like we're always going to be that person, but you're not. I mean, you're not even who you were yesterday. I've heard this quote, and I mean, it's sort of equally parts terrifying and also sort of, in a way, jars you into getting things done, which is that, you're never going to be as young as you are today, and you've never been as old as you are today. So, forget who you were. If you had parts of yourself, your attitude wasn't what you wanted, you're in control. Turn it around if you can. And if you can't manage it today, tomorrow's a new day. I think I always thought I was lazy, unsuccessful, out of control, fat, couldn't stick to exercise, was just failing in life. I didn't feel like I had reached my career goals that maybe my peers had. And a lot of that held me back, and I felt a lot of shame about it for years. But I've started to let go of that now. And again, I think it comes with being a certain age where you just sort of start to see the futility of giving a monkey's what everyone thinks. And believe me, I haven't got it all sorted. I still worry far too much about what other people think and what other people have said. But, you know, we work on it, we work on it, we work on it. And, you know, you can say who you are. You can set that in your mind. You can say who you're going to be. You know, I sometimes say to myself, well, I'm someone that loves exercise. That helps on the days I don't want to go to the gym. You know, I say I'm a super healthy person. Now, finally, I have the image in the mirror that backs that up. But even when I didn't, I could still say I'm someone that's made some great healthy choices today. I support my wellness. I put myself first. So, yeah, you aren't who you used to be. You can say who you are and who you're going to be. Number 3, a bit more of a practical one, this around food. And something, it took me a while to learn. You can be a bit hungry and you will survive. I think I always thought, if I'm hungry, oh my God, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? How will I cope? And, you know, that did limit me because I was constantly thinking about food and constantly thinking, you know, being very anxious about when was my next meal coming? What if I went a bit long and I got a little bit hungry? Somehow that would be devastating and mess with all sorts of things, not just my hunger cues, but my emotions and everything. And I've learned that, yeah, if I'm a bit hungry, it's not the end of the world. We are designed as humans to survive being a little bit hungry. You know, and I think I put so much attention on that sort of need to constantly not be hungry. And I can see that some of that was an emotional hunger. It was a habit hunger. And now if I'm a little bit hungry, well, you know, I listen to my body. If I'm hungry, I'll get something to eat. But if I can't get something to eat right that second, again, because of the changes I've made, I've definitely balanced out like my blood sugar highs and lows and all of that stuff, which helps. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can survive. You know, food isn't that safety net, I suppose, is what it comes around to. You know, I think knowing that has set me free a little bit. It's made me feel like, yeah, calm down, Elsa. You don't need to be chasing that next food high. You will survive. Which sounds ridiculous, but that's how I used to think. Anyway, that's that one. Number 4, and this is something that I turn to a lot when I'm feeling a bit struggling, is that you can do hard things. You can do hard things. I think we underestimate what we can do. And I'm not saying that losing weight, for example, is easy. It is not. It is very, very, very difficult. Getting fit isn't easy. Making any change, if you've struggled to make change all your life, clearly you're struggling with a thing that's not easy for you. However, we sometimes underestimate ourselves, and I think we cut ourselves too much slack sometimes. I certainly do. I think, oh, you're a little bit sad today, you don't have to go to the gym. Oh, you know, I used to think, oh, you've had a hard day at work, have an extra bit of cake or whatever, you know. And we can actually, you know, we can do harder things. We don't need to placate ourselves all the time. And I think we all see it, especially as women, when we are pushed into a corner, when we have something awful happen in our lives, something very stressful, you know, we can show up and we can do the hard stuff. Now, I mean, for me, I've been through, you know, lots of issues like we all have, a lot of work issues back in the day, you know, and you know the journey I've been on in the last few years with my husband's health. And I've watched the man that I love be in hospital countless times. And somehow, you know, people say to me, God, you're really strong. It's like, I'm not. But when you have to show up, you show up. So why not show up for yourself when it's something as important as your health, your wellness, your well-being? You can do hard things. Keep telling yourselves that, you know, you're stronger than you think you are. Okay. Number 5, you're not alone. I mean, this is an easy one. it's easy to think you're the only one struggling and you're the only one that is failing or the only one that can't do it. You're not alone. Everyone has these issues. It might not be the same, around the same thing as you do, but we all have these issues, and you're not the only one struggling. There's so many places you can reach out for support and encouragement. And yeah, simple as that, really. Never think you're the only one going through whatever it is you're going through. Number 6 is one that's been very hard for me as a bit of a perfectionist and someone who maybe struggles with confidence at times, is that you don't need permission and you don't need to wait for perfect. I have always struggled feeling that I need permission to say that I can do something, permission to share any form of knowledge unless I have a qualification on paper, permission to be accepted into certain groups. Friendship groups who I've had for years, I still feel somehow not entitled to that access to those friends, as if I'm not good enough. A belief and an attitude that I've had that is not something I feel good about or feel proud of. But in the past, I used to feel a jealousy around people who I perceived as overweight, for example. I used to feel a jealousy when they were out there living their lives, being successful. Because I used to think, well, no one's told me I can do that. I'm overweight and I feel embarrassed and ashamed about that a lot of the time. But they don't. Who gave them permission? Well, no one did. They gave themselves permission, because we don't need permission. And it took me a long time to realise that. I can get out and do stuff, and I still struggle. This is something I really struggle with, even getting here on YouTube. I've hardly got any subscribers. I'm not getting many views yet. I'm a really new channel, but I'm enjoying doing it. It's giving me someone to talk to, even if it's just the flipping camera. So I don't need to wait for it to be perfect. I don't need to wait for someone to tell me, go ahead, Elsa. Who's we? The powers that be have granted you permission to do this thing. I think I've always put myself in a position of a bit of a second-class citizen, and I don't know why that is. I think it's a lot of shame. There's shame around my weight, my struggles, my sort of maybe giving up on education sooner than I should have done, all sorts of things. A lifetime of stuff has built up. But, you don't need to wait for perfect, and you give yourself permission. Okay. Number 7 is that I've tried to stop viewing health and wellness as a plan with an end date, or as a fixed thing, 12 weeks to get a bikini body, all of that sort of jazz, Stop viewing it as a plan. I mean, we're right in that time now. Now, I know I'm doing a 30-day challenge to cut down on my coffee and improve my sleep. But I think around this time of the year, so many of us get into that thing of, oh gosh, I have to panic now and get into that dress for Christmas. Or, I've got to be ready for the Christmas parties. When in fact that, we need to view health, wellness, putting ourselves first as a journey for life. And I think getting out of that, this is a set journey, a set plan, and this is the date by which I have to achieve this. I'm not saying about setting goals. You set goals, interim goals. But I think I used to think, well, I'll get to this weight and then that's perfect. Or I'll get to be someone that goes to the gym 3 times a week and then it's perfect. Well, of course it's not. What happens when you get there? Well, you have to stay there. You've got to maintain it. It's just the beginning. You have to get used to who you are at that place. So I think viewing things as lifetime actually makes things easier, because you realise that it's the day in, day out consistency, repetitive nature of our actions and our habits that make change. And if you fall down one day, you jump up the next and you carry on. Which leads us on to number 8, which is that you can succeed and you're not a failure. You can succeed. However you choose success looks for you. I viewed myself as a failure so much, and I still struggle with this. I still sometimes look at myself and I think, God, you're failing, Elsa. And it's something I fall back on when I'm down. I just say, oh, Elsa, you're such a failure. And I think, but in whose eyes? In whose eyes, you know? And I have stopped, you know, I have got better at not judging myself compared to others. Because what's the point really? I try and judge myself now against what I want from life and view that as my, you know, my judge for success. Um, you know, am I happy in my day-to-day life? Am I doing what I want to do? Am I achieving what I want to achieve? And that achievement can be the lowest level thing in the world. It doesn't mean I want to get out there and strive and work all the hours and all of that sort of stuff. So, you know, tell yourself you are a success, you're not a failure, you can succeed. And, you know, falling off the wagon, making mistakes, they're not failures, they're lessons. And you get back up and you carry on and you keep going. And it's by carrying on and keeping going that change is made. I do sometimes think that a lot of the most successful change I've made in my life, in whatever area, has been because I've rather stumbled into it and almost started without overthinking it. As you know, I made these weight loss changes by really just starting thinking about something different, which was how can I feel a bit healthier, maybe with my hormones and things. You know, I started my own business by sort of being in a bit of a panicked position because I got made redundant and thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? And I started just doing this and it built and it built and it built. And, you know, here I am. I haven't worked in a proper job for 16 years. I've been self-employed all that time and paying my bills, you know, living okay, not living the super high life, but similarly, you know, getting on okay and being happier. That's the most important thing, being so much happier. So, you know, any failure, see it as a lesson, see it as something to spur you on. Okay, number 9 is that you are a whole, complex person, multifaceted person. You're not just your weight, you're not just your looks, you're not just your salary. Again, I used to let this hold me back. I think I can't have anything. I can't have anything because I'm overweight. I can't have anything because I'm not as good as some other people. I'm not, you know, I don't earn as much as some people. And that's rubbish. I mean, we know that's rubbish. But once you can let go of that belief that you are more than just the thing you struggle with, just the thing you're trying to work on or change, I think it helps you it diminishes the size of that issue in your mind, and therefore you can start to work on everything as a whole, as a more holistic approach, I suppose. And I think I spent a lot of years just gunning for weight loss at all cost, gunning for how many times can I go to the gym and then I'll burn out. You know, how many times can I try and squash myself into a job role that I actually hate? And, you know, stepping back and taking a more holistic approach. And that really just brings me to the final thing, number 10, which is that you deserve good things now. Don't wait, as we said, don't wait for permission, don't wait for perfect. Well, don't wait to be the person you think you should be, to treat yourself well, to treat yourself nicely. I used to do this for so many years. I would punish myself. And that limiting belief held me back. It stopped me achieving good things because I was constantly, you know, hitting myself in the face, metaphorically, going, you're a failure, you're bad, you look rubbish, you're not good enough, you're failing. And, you know, it's simple things like, you know, giving yourself permission to have nice clothes, nice, you know, get your hair done, wear makeup if you like to wear makeup, buy yourself nice things, nourish yourself with good food, allow yourself to go to the gym, even if you find it so hard and maybe you think you don't belong in the gym because somehow you don't look like you belong in the gym. It's all rubbish. It's all rubbish. No one's looking at you. No one cares anyway. You deserve the best of everything right now. So I would just say, you know, try and think about what's limiting you mentally in making change in your life. What's holding you back? aside from these practical changes, which we know we struggle with, letting go of those limiting beliefs and challenging them. That's the big thing. When they come up, you challenge them. You say, actually, is that right? Am I a failure? Am I a failure? Well, no. Look at me. I have a partner. I have a home that I like. I do a job that I like. You know, I could list all the things I don't have, but let's look at what I do have. You know, always challenge those beliefs. If you want to go, you know, into the gym and you're thinking, well, I don't belong there, who says? Who says? Who's gonna? I give permission to go to the gym. Who is even looking at me? No one's looking at me. If they're looking at you, you do, and this is a really hard one for me, but you can't control what other people think. Sorry, I'm waving my pen now. It makes me feel like I'm in charge. Anyway, I think that, I mean, that's it for today. But I would just urge you, you know, think positive. Think about the whole holistic approach to how you live your life. How are you going to feel great every day? Keep putting yourself first. Focus on your health and wellness and whatever that means for you. And relax, and take it easy. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'd love it if you'd give me a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. I'll be back again soon. And I've got one little bonus tip for you just at the end here. Okay, see you soon. Try and respect and love yourself as much as your dog loves you, because they think you're perfect. Don't you, Lottie? And I think you're perfect. We're both perfect.